You assume your eye color is a cosmetic paint job designed to look attractive in certain lighting. You believe it is an aesthetic choice made by your DNA, similar to hair color or height. You are incorrect. Biologically, you are walking around with a highly specific optical filtration hardware specification, and you are currently operating it completely outside of its environmental rating. Your eye color is not decorative. It is a functional engineering decision that determines how your nervous system processes light, how your body metabolizes chemicals, how quickly your motor cortex responds to threats, and how much physical pain you can tolerate before complaining. Every decision you make about sunglasses, alcohol consumption, career choice, and recreational activities should be informed by your optical hardware specifications. Most of you are ignoring the user manual entirely. Let us review the sensor manuals. The colored part of your eye is called the iris. Its primary function is not to make you look appealing in photographs. It is a hardware-level light control mechanism, and depending on your genetic manufacturing specifications, you received one of two very different models. Brown eyes contain melanin in both the front and back layers of the iris. This is the standard industrial configuration. The melanin acts as a built-in sun filter, absorbing excess light before it reaches the internal sensor array. Blue eyes, on the other hand, contain zero melanin in the front layer. They are not actually blue. There is no blue pigment anywhere in the structure. What you are seeing is an atmospheric physics trick called Rayleigh scattering, the same phenomenon that makes the sky appear blue. Light hits the iris, the shorter blue wavelengths scatter, and your brain interprets this as a color. You are essentially looking at a structural accident that produces a visual side effect. To be very clear, having blue eyes is not a magical genetic trait that makes you special. It is a manufacturing defect where the engineering department forgot to install the front sun shields, leaving the optical sensor array completely exposed to environmental light levels it was never designed to handle. Brown eyes are heavily tinted, industrial-grade security cameras built for high-glare outdoor environments. Blue eyes are unshielded glass lenses relying on a physics loophole to avoid immediate blindness. Green and hazel eyes fall somewhere in between, with partial shielding that provides moderate protection but not full coverage. The critical takeaway here is that this is not cosmetic. This is a functional hardware difference that determines how your visual processing system interacts with the external world. You are not running the same equipment. Because light-colored eyes lack the front melanin layer, they cannot absorb excess light. The unfiltered light enters the eye, bounces around inside the eyeball like a factory with all the windows open during a solar flare, and repeatedly hits the retina, which is the light-sensitive tissue at the back of the eye responsible for converting light into electrical signals your brain can process. This causes several measurable problems. First, significant glare. If you have light eyes and find yourself constantly squinting in bright conditions, you are not being dramatic. Your optical sensors are simply overexposing the film. The retina is receiving far more light than it needs to function, and your nervous system is trying to manually reduce the aperture by closing your eyelids. This is not a personality trait. This is a hardware limitation. Second, photophobia. This is the clinical term for light sensitivity. It is not a disease. It is a predictable hardware issue. Your eyes are attempting to process environmental light levels using equipment that was optimized for low-light Northern European climates, not equatorial sunlight or modern LED office lighting. If you have blue eyes and you live near the equator, you are operating your visual hardware in an environment it was never designed for. The engineering specifications do not match the deployment location. Third, headaches. Excessive light hitting the retina creates overstimulation in the visual cortex, the part of your brain responsible for interpreting visual data. If your brain is constantly trying to filter out excess brightness, it will eventually complain. You call this a headache. Your brain calls it a processing overload warning. If you ignore this warning and continue operating in high-brightness environments without external filtration, the system will continue generating error messages in the form of migraines and eye strain. Fourth, accelerated retinal degradation. Long-term exposure to unfiltered UV light increases your risk of macular degeneration, a condition where the central part of your retina starts breaking down, leading to vision loss. The melanin layer in brown eyes absorbs much of this UV radiation before it can cause damage. Light eyes do not have this protection. Every hour you spend in bright sunlight without UV blocking eyewear is accumulating damage to the retinal tissue. This is not reversible. The solution is extremely simple. If you have light eyes and find yourself constantly squinting, developing headaches, or complaining about the sun, you are not sensitive. Your optical sensors are simply overexposing the film by external UV shielding or accept the accelerated retinal degradation. These are your tool options. The sun is not going to dim itself to accommodate your hardware specifications. This is where the situation becomes significantly stranger. The genes responsible for producing melanin in your eyes are not isolated. They are part of a larger genetic network that influences other neurological systems, including how your body processes chemicals. Research has identified measurable behavioral differences between individuals with dark eyes and individuals with light eyes that have nothing to do with vision. Studies show that individuals with dark eyes are significantly more sensitive to alcohol. They feel the effects faster, reach intoxication sooner, and generally require less alcohol to trigger a physiological response. Conversely, individuals with light eyes have a measurably higher tolerance. They can consume more alcohol before experiencing the same level of impairment. This is not cultural. This is not learned behavior. This is not psychological. This is a genetic hardware difference in how your liver and nervous system process ethanol. The same genetic pathways that determine whether you get melanin in your iris also influence the enzymes responsible for breaking down alcohol in your bloodstream. The same pattern appears with certain medications and anesthetics. Dark-eyed individuals tend to respond more strongly to lower doses. Light-eyed individuals often require higher doses to achieve the same effect. If you have ever wondered why your friend can drink you under the table while you are struggling after 2 beers, check their eye color. You may be running different metabolic software. Now the trade-off. Individuals with light eyes also demonstrate a higher tolerance for physical pain. Multiple studies have measured pain thresholds and found that light-eyed individuals can endure higher levels of discomfort before reporting pain compared to dark-eyed individuals. This has been tested with heat, cold, pressure, and electrical stimulation. The results are consistent across all pain modalities. The hypothesis is that the same genetic factors that reduce melanin production also modify pain receptor sensitivity and endorphin response. You are not more or less tough than someone with different eye color. You are simply running different pain threshold calibrations. The unshielded sensors will allow you to confidently consume a toxic volume of ethanol because the warning alarms are delayed. However, they will also allow you to endure a severe structural injury with minimal complaining because the pain alert system operates on a higher threshold. The engineering department balances the budget one way or the other. You either get strong chemical sensitivity or strong physical resilience. You do not get both. Choose your recreational activities accordingly. Melanin levels also correlate with motor response times and cognitive processing styles. Studies indicate that dark-eyed individuals have faster reactive response times. If you throw a baseball at someone with brown eyes, their nervous system will initiate evasive maneuvers fractions of a second faster than someone with blue eyes. This advantage appears in sports requiring split-second reactions. Hitting a baseball, returning a tennis serve, blocking a punch. Light-eyed individuals, on the other hand, perform better at self-paced, analytical tasks. Golf, bowling, archery, studying, strategic planning, anything that requires prolonged calculation rather than immediate reflex action. The hypothesis is that higher melanin levels improve the speed of neural signal transmission in motor pathways, giving dark-eyed individuals a slight edge in reactive tasks. Light-eyed individuals compensate with stronger performance in tasks that reward deliberate, methodical processing. To be very clear, if a high-velocity projectile is approaching your head, the heavily tinted sensors will initiate evasive maneuvers fractions of a second faster. If the target is stationary and requires prolonged calculation, the unshielded sensors hold the advantage. You are running 2 completely different operating systems optimized for 2 completely different environmental challenges. This is not a value judgment. Neither system is superior. They are simply calibrated for different situations. A brown-eyed person will statistically outperform a blue-eyed person in reactive sports. A blue-eyed person will statistically outperform a brown-eyed person in precision tasks requiring sustained focus. These are hardware trade-offs, not personality traits. Stop treating your optical hardware like a fashion accessory. It is a biological constraint with measurable consequences for how you process light, chemicals, pain, and motor tasks. If you lack the internal sunshields, purchase external ones. Sunglasses are not optional equipment for light-eyed individuals. They are mandatory protective gear to prevent long-term sensor degradation. If you have the internal sunshields, accept that your chemical tolerance is lower. Your system is calibrated to respond early. Do not attempt to override the safety protocols by matching the alcohol consumption of someone running different hardware. Read the specifications, operate the machinery accordingly, and stop blaming the sun for your own hardware deficits. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, like this video, and drop a comment. See you on the next one.